into what we were talking about with the White Panther.
Mm, mm.
And
Can
it's
I tell you
interesting
how much
because
I'm
that's
unbothered? I am so fucking unbothered.
I'm
The
very
only thing
bothered.
that makes me happy is going into the comment sections of those comic book pages and going, here you fucking go, you whiny piece of shit crybabies. Here. Finally, you can stop complaining that for 5 fucking minutes something was not solely and completely based upon you. Here you go. There's your fucking token. Be happy now that you have a White Panther. Like, oh, I'm sure your little penises is rock hard because you got a white. Oh god! Finally, they whitewashed a character because that has never happened ever before in the history of ever. Have they ever replaced a black character with a white character? No, that's ridiculous. That never. I just
right.
they're in the comments trying to argue with people and the nonchalant attitudes of black people. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of us. If you go in them comment sections, the black people be like, yeah, no, we're good. It's fine. We don't care. Like it doesn't take the Black Panther away. They want us to be so bothered, like they was bothered about that damn mermaid. Still, people still going off on posts about Halle Bailey because she was the mermaid. Like y'all are the only ones fragile enough to give a damn. I'm sorry. This character, whoever he is, I hope Ryan Reynolds plays him. I don't give a shit. I don't
Yeah.
because Black
Channing
Panther
Tatum.
still exists. The character
Channing
of Black
Tatum.
Panther is still there. Wakanda is still there. Unless Marvel is like from here on out, there will only be the White Panther. Then I
And
will, then I will riot in the streets and I will pull my hair in rending of cloth. But other
now,
than that,
from that perspective, that's where I jump in. I remember when Captain America said "Hail Hydra." What the hell? Oh my God, Cap would never. And it was something that was done to stir things up. And this is going in a current comic story arc. You know what I'm saying? And so
okay.
it's like, on the one hand, okay, we got to see how this plays out, because if we react too early, then everybody gets all up in arms, and there's a and how could they? They never could. And then, of course, it ends up not really resolving itself, but it ends up working out in the end. Because, as you said, if this is the new permanent, like this is how it's going to be moving forward kind of thing, it's a problem. Now, when we take into when we take into account some of the different aspects of Black Panther that they've already put in comics canonically, we have interesting situations with, say, for example, T'Challa was chasing very heavily after Sue Storm at different points. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff happening there. So for them to write in a story where T'Challa basically had a child and this kid is the result of that, okay, you're writing the story in a way that is possible. Plausible, you know what I'm saying? It's like you still have some explaining to do because this was the route you chose. So you have to like back it up. You have to finish this story and you have to like make this shit make sense.
I'm like, just because he's the child of the Black Panther doesn't mean that he would have Panther abilities. That's not how that works.
He
No,
beat
it
his
just
ass in the comics, though. That's the issue that I have. That's where I'm a hop in.
okay.
Okay.
Because we saw the movie, we know the ritual, we saw the strength of the Black Panther being
Right.
Right.
stripped away. All right.
Right.
So in the scene, it literally is like we don't find out he is white until after he defeats T'Challa in battle. And then they have the big reveal. He pulls off the mask and it's a white boy. Now, I'm on. I agree with you, Sam. We gotta let it play out. It's a current comic book run. Christopher Priest, one of my favorite comic book writers, is the one writing it. He wrote my favorite Black Panther run that I've ever read.
There is a lot of trust the
I
process,
respect him,
but it's also
but
what the hell.
right
No, I get
now,
it. I get it.
right
You got some
now,
explaining to do.
I don't know what the hell is going. Like you asking me to just get in the car and ride, and you ain't type nothing in the GPS. You ain't told, and it's nighttime, and
Yeah.
you turn the headlights off.
Wow.
I don't feel comfortable, but
This ain't what I signed up for.
I've been riding with you for a long time, so I'm
And
a
you ain't never
ride.
took me nowhere wrong. You done took me to some
No,
beautiful places.
And let me say, I 100% agree with that analogy as to what's happening right now because there is a definite slap
Why the
in the
fuck would you do
face.
this? Why would you do this?
Right.
That's what you were saying. Somebody turned the headlights. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, but it's kind of like you know why they did it. You know why they did it.
Can I just
Like
say?
I understand that might be your favorite writer, but you know damn well why the fuck they did it.
Can I
It's
just
gonna
say?
sell some books.
It's a
If nothing
fucking
else, it's gonna
comic.
sell.
It's
People
a
gonna
comic.
people, and you know
There are
that.
literally tops
No,
in the world
how I
globally.
define my
There are
life.
100,000 people that are probably going to purchase that comic. This is a problem for 100,000 people. The rest of us can mind our fucking business because we're not reading that comic.
Okay.
Who gives a shit? I don't care what direction they go with it.
What do they use to make the movies that they make billions of dollars off of?
Yeah, but they're not going to work that in. They're not going to work
until
you don't know that.
There is so much
they're like,
material
he is
they
the
haven't
permanent
done.
replacement
You
for
know
the
what?
Black
There was so
Panther.
many opportunities.
When they go to a parallel Earth and it's Wakanda.
No. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Europe,
RG. I got it. No, I got it. I'm
Let
gonna break
them do
it
it
down.
in the what if. Let them do it in the what if.
They won't even do it in the what if.
18th century England.
They'll do it in Endgame when Cap is back in time, standing on the elevator, and instead of saying before we get started, does anybody get out? He's like, "No, I'm running point on this. Don't worry, Hell Hydra." Oh shit, they did it in the movie too.
So when the man pull off the mask and it's Ryan Gosling,
Sam, they took a clip. They took a clip of
again. If they're like that's like, oh, this is permanent. That's when I'm gonna get up in arms. That's when I'm gonna be like,
I got you.
I'm not fucking with Marvel no more because that's ridiculous.
Okay.
But
I don't
as
want
far
that
as
to happen.
look at the political, look at the fucking climate of the United States right now. Like, why wouldn't they do a White Panther? Literally, that they're jerking off over this. Like they're fucking in those chat groups. Oh, the White Panther! They're having.
They are creaming everywhere.
Literally, the keyboards are disgusting.
And the funny thing is,
I don't want that. I don't want that much fun. I don't want that visual.
And when the movie come out and then white people start showing up in dashikis and kufis like we did, now we gonna have.
They're gonna start showing up dressed in Shakespearean garb.
You think they won't?
That's their.
Well, you know something. Let them. Some
Wakanda.
African lady. There'll be several African families getting some extra bucks out of these people. You know what I'm saying? Also, if they want to do.
I like the silver lining that you're adding to that, but no, that's not how that's going to play out in the theater, and that's the downside.
Well, what's going to happen? Somebody's going to get shot. Nobody's going to get shot.
Hey, nobody's going to get shot in the theater in America.
Look. Not in a black movie. Not in the movie that the black people are supposed to be at, because we are intentionally making sure that we do not. We are literally looking at it like, yo, don't bring that shit. Chill out.
So let me just also point
out. Not down here.
Not our movies, baby.
Not down here.
Our movies.
I have never been a victim of violence in a movie theater.
Well, I see a white boy in a kufi. It's on.
With the future of the Marvel movies that we know about. We know we have Doomsday and we know we have Secret Wars. And both of those are, if we follow the current trajectory, we know that because of Deadpool and Wolverine, we know from Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, we know this incursion. We know the multiverse. Everything that exists in the current MCU is there. So while we sit here and we joke and it's like, oh yeah, it can't happen. There is a precedent available. I'm not saying that's the route. I'm not saying that they should. I'm not saying I want them to. I
Listen
am
to me. I'm
saying,
not saying I don't think that it will happen. I am very openly saying I think it probably will happen. And I
mhm,
think it will happen because
I
white
just want to
men
point that.
have been damn upset ever since black people started getting attention, especially in the comic book movies. They see this as some righting of a wrong, even though Black Panther, the
Vindi-
character, has been around since forever.
it's
So
vindication
And
of the complaint of all of the characters who previously had been race swapped, and we said it wasn't a big deal. It doesn't matter. It's okay because
right.
Nick Fury used to be an old grizzled white guy with the great temples and whatnot, and he had the all the drones. As soon as that character was a black dude with an eye patch, okay, it's business as usual because it was an alternate universe and that was Nick Fury. But once that became the main continuity Nick Fury, it was like, well, that changed. When we had Jim Gordon, who traditionally in comics has always been depicted as an old white man, but then we got the wonderful turn as Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Well, at the time, Detective Gordon, you know what I'm saying? Like, we get that. And they're like, well, you can't change because he's all. And then again, the conversation was, well, it doesn't matter because his race isn't relevant to the character. Now the conversation is trying to be like, oh, I thought it didn't matter because race wasn't but the problem is you're talking about in this case, and this is where it's a very fine line because they did it the way they did it, and Christopher Peace wrote this just this way so that technically we have to accept the way that it is.
Mhm.
First off, he's mixed technically, the character, but he is depicted. He looks much more like his mother than he would his father. You know what I'm saying?
So he's white.
And that's the part that comes through. And that's where this conversation is taking place. And that is why people are now able to try to say, well, I thought race didn't matter. And that's where this conversation is coming from. But I
Well,
still say
you
again,
know
I
what?
would, but
Can I just
yeah.
add on top because I wanted to respond to RG's point about whether it's going to happen in the movies or not. There has been a concerted effort ever since Avengers made $1 billion. There has been a concerted effort by Marvel to test out all of these storylines through the comic books first, and
Mhm.
everything that they have been doing since that movie in the comics has been to basically prep the stories that they want to eventually tell on the big screen. So that doesn't mean everything makes the cut, but everything that they do has the potential to eventually one day be something
Mhm.
that they use on the big screen. And when you do something like this, that makes this kind of splash in not
Mhm.
just the geekosphere, because yes, you're right, maybe 100,000 people will buy that comic, but more people are talking about that, and more people are now on one side excited to possibly own the libs and see a White Panther on the screen, and there's other black
Exactly.
people who are waiting, who are like, are they gonna fuck with us for real and do this to us for real, for real? Especially on the back of the recast T'Challa movement and Chadwick Boseman tragically like passing away before he even got the chance to play the role more than three
well, yeah,
times.
yeah.
So I think that there's like a lot of it's 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 a
I
it's
think
a
they
very
are going
potent
to do it.
mixture.
I think that I do think they're going to do it. But I feel like right now there is a concerted effort to diminish and downgrade black people. So yeah, no, if this became, I'm not saying they would never do that because I believe that they will, but I believe
Mhm.
that this is being done very deliberately and for a reason. So that it will, like send a message like, oh, y'all are not special anymore or whatever. Like, I don't know, but I'm not shocked or
Well,
surprised by it. Like, there's nothing about this that I'm like, this is, so
I
sad or
was
whatever.
I
Cause
was
it's like,
shocked when I saw
yeah, no,
Christopher
I kind
Priest
of
was
expected
writing.
them to do some mess like this.
right. I mean, I don't like what the. I've always been a. My issue with comics, and obviously with putting comics to movies, and just media in general is if the race of the character or the color of the character's skin, if that is paramount or important to the character's arc and the things that they do and their movements, then you need to keep that the same about that character. And I don't care. I felt that way if you make a character black and the character doesn't need to be doesn't need to be dark skinned or the character. I'm sorry, the character being white, right, or whatever their background is paramount to that character's role and who they are. That comes into play. Otherwise, if it doesn't come into play, all bets are off. Right?
Yes.
You can cast any color, whatever. I remember when I was telling people about in Rings of Power and the elves, being cast by black people. They're like, oh well, he didn't have any black elves, and I'm like, they're not black elves. They're dark skinned elves. They're elves,
Elves.
right? They're not elves that ask who made the potato salad. They're elves. So you know what I'm saying? With comics, it's the same way. Just that role, right? Like how the way they're spinning it isn't. I mean, it's clever, right? Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. But it takes it takes y'all 6 years to make a movie. It takes y'all 6 years to make a movie. By the time they do this shit, I'm gonna be collecting fucking Social Security. I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be like, oh, so fucking Disney finally fucking cave and gave through. And then Disney's normally not on that side of the aisle. So I think if
they're in the aisle,
continue,
that's their thing.
True.
I can say that as a matter of like personal experience and like arguments that I have had with people at Disney and Marvel about topics pertaining to this matter. Like their whole thing is they stand in the aisle and they don't make a statement or pick a side on any of that. They'll reap all the benefits of them making something and people interpreting it that way, but they're not going to actually come out and be like, we're making White Panther because white men have been mad and they make up a significant portion of our customer base and we're doing something to appease them.
Facts.
Which I don't think Christopher Priest is doing. And I think there better be a hell of a dismount. Like wherever we going in the dark with no headlights, it better be.
It's already a lot. Like, okay, so Black Panther had a baby by a white woman. And
it's a lot to unpack.
I mean, he went to college in America.
Black Panther and Storm together?
T'Challa.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that in one of these universes that pops up.
Yeah. I was hoping it was the new baby that Shuri.
It'll be the white man with the black woman. That'll fuck him up.
God. I'm gonna turn it into sinners in that theater.
Now, I just want to point out something. I'm going to make a point for RG. You may not be collecting your Social Security by the time this actually happens. I just want to give you like a very real timeline. 2016, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Volume 11. That was Captain America #1 when he had like the triangle shield with the little laser thing at the bottom. That issue came out. It was published 2016. Avengers Endgame 2019.
It's not based off that story in 2016.
But the reaction, the line Hell Hydra happened in that 2016 comic.
Hold on, when Cap went bad was 2016. Hold on, are you sure about that?
I am telling you, that was the issue. That was where that came from. That time Cap said, "Okay, it is
Secret Empire."
No, what are you pulling up?
That's the comic book where Captain America basically took over. It's an alternate universe and he runs Hydra. I think he's like president of the United States
No, no,
as
no,
a
no, no.
Hydra agent. This is when they
This
Now
is
have the
we
other.
talking about something different. We talking
Well,
this
I'm
about
just
is
saying. Hold on. The reason I'm only bringing that up because we're talking about when he said "Hail Hydra," right?
right.
The significance of this is if he said it. He said it in that comic in that series. That's the series that set the precedent about him. I guess you know what I'm saying about him directly being associated with Hydra.
Okay. Going through all of the lore and the history back in the comics and when the Secret Empire issue, no, when it blew up on the internet that Captain America said Hell Hydra was 2017, and it came from the 2016 Captain America, Steve Rogers Captain America. That was the comic run, and that is where that story came from. In the comics, it is here, and I will. Okay, I want to be stupid and not do. You know what? I'll just share the screen. Like, why am I acting like I'll do this all the time? We'll just share the screen because then the people who are watching can enjoy and see what we're talking about as
See
well.
how we do it live in production.
Right. So it's there, and boom. So this image right here is, in fact, the image I'm talking about. When this Captain America says Hell Hydra, that took place in 2017. By 2019, I promise you, I remember being in the theater when we were watching Endgame, and he did the whole like leaned over Hell Hydra. It was
Mm-hmm.
such a big deal, and it was obviously one of those things that only got written in because it worked and it had that same effect. It had that moment because it was like when they did that in the comics. Oh my god, everybody was like, what in the world, how could they? Cap would never. And I mean, literally, much like we're seeing the situation with a white king of Wakanda, it was something that happened in the comics, and of course it ended up being a cosmic cube that rewrote the backstory, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
They explained it away, but even so, it was still like, oh my god, look what they did. You
and
know what
it's
I'm
not
saying?
necessarily about them like telling this story, but it is about them introducing concepts that could show up in the future. So the concept of Hell, Captain America saying Hail Hydra, is taken better in the movie because it's even if you only watch the movies, but you know people like me and Sam who like understand the comics, they
Right.
can be like, oh well, that's a Easter egg, that's a callback to this issue, yada yada
Right.
yada, whoop de whoop. So when Grandma go see Black Panther 3 and Ryan Gosling pop up, she not finna care about Christopher Priest and writing none of this stuff.
True.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like I said, I'm a trust Christopher Priest. You know, I'm gonna let the photo develop a little bit longer. Hopefully, he's taking us somewhere magical and amazing. But this first stretch of the road is bumpy, and I'm concerned. I'm concerned. This like when you wondering if you had to take the driver's license away, take the keys away, because man, oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just the timing of it, and it's just like it came out of nowhere. It's like, why are we doing this? Like, I mean, even if they would have done it to like Luke Cage or Miles Morales, like he could be a little light skinned like Puerto Rican boy. Like I would get that, but
True.
this the blackest of the blackity black, and yes, he was chasing the snow bunnies in college like the average black kid does at some point in time, depending on what school they go to. But I feel like they had done a very good and intentional job of like showing him also with black women. So
Yeah.
now this new Black Panther, whoever this black man is, now he coming in like Will Smith in Focus. where it's like, I mean, you Black Panther, but you do have one weakness. You might eat the purple heart shaped herb, but you also susceptible to the white lilies of the valley.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I
We shall
will
see.
never understand that. And
What?
it may just because I'm a woman or a black woman or I don't know.
Mm.
The
But I will
appeal?
never understand. Maybe it's because I grew up in Nebraska and I just been around white girls my whole life. I don't understand why the exotification of them. Like why is it like, oh, the white lilies of the valley, the golden raindrops that
My
fall
milk of
from that heaven.
magnesia.
Like that it is a very odd phenomenon to me, but I'm a black woman, so
It is.
I
I mean,
don't get it.
I don't know. We
This I don't know that
eh,
this is the show for it, but we'll one
They're
day
just
maybe we can.
broads, man. They
that
broads
doesn't
like everybody else.